Overview of low back pain disorders. What are those disorders? And yes, a couple words about them. So generally, pain disorders of the lower back are extremely common. You are relatively young, but in even a bit more older populations of adults, pain of the lower back is nearly universal. Yes, sometimes it's very small, sometimes it's debilitating, but the pain in the lower back is extremely common in the population. So, and this also leads to huge amounts of years lived in the disability. Yes, what are the years lived in disability? Years lived in the disability is just the time of the person of whole of its life that is spent in the disability. Why do we tell about such thing? We are telling about such thing because this is one of the way how to measure what diseases, what conditions leads to most problems. It tells us what is the most important to deal with in the population. Yes? So by this measurement, we see that influencing, treating the low back pain is one of the best things for the population to be more healthy, to be more able to live happy lives. Yes, live fulfilled happy lives. Okay. Just a couple words about anatomy. Of course, I will just skim it through because I presume you know all of it. So, generally, majority of the LBP originates from the spine and paraspinal musculature. And of course, that's why the anatomy of this area is important. So, of course, we have 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 3 to 5 coccygeal vertebrae. With the exception of the sacral and coccygeal vertebrae, which are ordinarily fused, the 2 adjacent vertebral bodies and the intervertebralis comprise a vertebral motion segment. So, one more time, 2 adjacent vertebrae, so vertebra and vertebra, and the intervertebral discs comprise the vertebral motion segment. Yes, so obviously the vertebra cannot move on its own. Yes, it moves always in the conjunction with the other vertebrae, and that's why such thing is devised. Yes, such classification is devised, such definition is devised as the motion segment. And this motion segment is those 2 vertebrae that are adjacent and the intervertebral disc between. So, anteriorly, the linear arrangement of the adjacent vertebral motion segments forms the continuum of the spinal column, and the remainder of the spinal column consists of the neural arch, which includes the spinous process, laminae, ligamenta flava, pedicles, facial joints, and all of those things that you already know. Okay, and generally, this is also important that we have the neural arch that forms the spinal canal. Yes, so in the spinal canal, of course, on the area of the L1 to L2, we have the spinal cord, but lower we have the nerves. Yes, the cauda equina, and those nerve roots of the cauda equina. Yes. At the very end, the cauda equina is getting to the filum terminale. Yes, there's here. So the spinal cord characteristically ends at L1, L2, as we already thought. Okay. So just to reiterate, we have this intervertebral disc. Some weight is also carried by the zygapophyseal joints. Yes, so the joints between the upper, the superior and inferior articular processes of the vertebrae. And of course, all of it is connected with a lot of different ligaments. Between the vertebral bodies, as you can see, the nerves are getting out and they may be problems of the cause, the pathologies of these places, yes, where the bone and nerves are close together, may be the root of the pain in the lower back. Of course, not only. Okay. Generally, the flexibility in the movement that can be achieved in the vertebral column, in the spine, is relative to the is proportional to the relative motion on each part of the vertebra, yes, on each part of the motion segment, and it just accumulates. Yes, the mobility of single vertebra over the other is relatively small, but when we add all of them, we have quite a lot of range of motion. Okay, thank you very much.